I think for us, we've always cared about giving back. That was kind of like the motto behind our brand when we started. We wanted to help out the artisans. We wanted to bring them more opportunity. Then we started making bracelets that donated back to charity. So we wanted to help out the charities and really find a way that Pura Vida can kind of be like, I guess, a double-edged sword where we can do two things. One would be, like I said, helping out the artisans, the others working with charities. And I think when you put those two things together, it really shows how much we care about the brand and also where the consumer's dollar is really going.
This is The Safari. The Safari is a tour around the consumer, brand, and retailing industry. And we have the great privilege here at my company, Traub, to really be exposed to many of the great minds of the industry who are forming and shaping the future of many different parts of the consumer, brand, and retail world. And I felt it was quite interesting for us to be able to not only learn from all of those people as we do every day, but memorialize it into a podcast, which could then be shared with many of our friends and clients and you, obviously, the listener. This week, I'm joined by Griffin Thall, who is the CEO of Pura Vida, which is, I must say, one of my newfound favorite brands. So I was really very pleased when we got the opportunity to speak to him. And for those of you that don't know Pura Vida, I think of it really as one of the 21st century's case studies in American dream creation. It's really interesting. In our company, we've always talked about the notion that brands of the 21st century needed to have a different soul, a different way of being. And the very word Pura Vida, which means pure life in Spanish, really means embracing the simpler things in life. And I believe that the brands of the 21st century that will thrive, and indeed Pura Vida has thrived, are those that have a bit of sense of humor, that have some love, a little bit of affection, are affordable, have a fun lifestyle, they're comfortable, casual, etc. So I think the story of Pura Vida, which the origin story, which is remarkable, and I'll save it for Griffin to tell himself about how they came up with this idea, is something to hear about. And then it went all the way to selling a majority stake of the business to a large incumbent, Vera Bradley. So without further ado, let's get started. Griffin, thank you so much for doing the safari with me.
Of course, yeah, I'm happy to be here.
So I must say, it's such fun. I know when everyone interviews you, I know the beginning of this story always comes back to how you guys got started. But given that this recording is now happening in the middle of, or maybe hopefully in the tail end of quarantine, where in the world are you doing your quarantine?
So yeah, I've been doing my quarantine mostly in San Diego. I live in Pacific Beach, and I come up to Santa Monica pretty often as well, visit my parents in Malibu. So I've been mostly staying put down in Pacific Beach in San Diego and, just kind of doing my thing, working from home, surfing. Fortunately, the beaches are open and, cooking a lot and just kind of, keeping to myself.
Oh, well, good for you. We're all missing the surfing here. I guess that's going to start soon. In the Northeast. Just got my new surfboard, so we'll see how that all goes later on. So listen, I'd love for everyone to hear, obviously, the background, a little bit about you and how you and your partner, Paul, literally were on holiday and decided to start a business based on bumping into two young artisans who you guys took a shine to, and the rest was history. So why don't we start from the beginning, obviously?
For sure. So yeah, I went to San Diego State for college when I was 18, growing up in the LA area in like Agora, Westlake, Calabasas. And then once I got to San Diego State, I was there for about 5 years. It took me a long time to graduate. That extra year was just for fun, pretty much. And then, we went to Costa Rica for our graduation trip, and we went there for 5 weeks. We met these two artisans on the beach. The last week we were there, their names are Jorge and Joaquin, and they were selling bracelets off of a little table, a little artisan table. And, people are very familiar with, buying these types of products in, third world countries when they're traveling a lot. And we walked up to their table. bought a couple bracelets, for our friends and family, bought a couple for ourselves, went back to our hotel later that night, looked down at our wrists, and we said, hey, maybe this is a crazy idea, but I think we could sell these to our friends and family back home. So why don't we buy a couple hundred? So we bought, 400 bracelets, and we brought them back to San Diego. And the time that we bought the bracelets from Jorge and Joaquin on the beach, that was the last time they ever worked on the beach again. So today, Jorge and Joaquin manage an operation in Costa Rica and El Salvador, and they have over 800 bracelet artisans that hand make every single product we sell.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And they've been doing this for you now for how long?
Since 2010. We're actually, I think September is our 10-year anniversary. So we got a couple more months and it'll be a full decade of Pura Vida, which is insane.
That's incredible. I mean, how many people do you think went on holiday and had a similar conversation to the one you had, and then came home and actually not only did it, but had this whopping success and an exit and all the rest of it? I mean, what do you think differentiated the two of you from all the rest of us on this particular subject?
Like on building a brand?
Yeah, building a brand from an idea on a whim on vacation.
I think when people travel, they get inspired, they get creative, they get lost, they find themselves, they uncover new skills or hobbies that they like. And I think for us, we just graduated college. We knew that we were going to get blasted into reality, and we had to polish off our resume. And none of that sounded good. It sounded like a horrible idea. And it sounded like the past 4 or 5 years that we spent at San Diego State, that we had to play by the rules and get a 9-to-5 job and make $50K out of college and blah, blah, blah. And that just sounded bad to me. So we thought there's got to be a better way around this. And e-commerce was kind of just starting. There weren't that many brands selling stuff online. It was kind of like Amazon and a couple other bigger stores and, like maybe Nordstrom and Walmart and stuff. But then I feel like we were familiar with people buying stuff online, but there was a big fear of internet security and, is it safe to shop on sites that are not global brands? And we kind of jumped into it head on and we built a store on Shopify, and it was really easy for us to do. We didn't need a developer in the beginning. I learned how to do graphic design and some minor coding stuff just from like YouTube. And, this was before mobile shopping. So everyone was on a desktop, and, people had BlackBerries and some people had iPhones, and, our website loaded at 13 or 14 seconds. It was pretty much just like a shopping on a dinosaur website.
Yeah.
But after years of innovation and experience and just perfecting the brand experience, it really made the Pura Vida website kind of like a e-commerce powerhouse.
And the brand itself, I mean, look, I think many Americans have been to Costa Rica. I happen to spend a lot of time there, and the underpinnings of what those two words mean to Costa Ricans is really, it's really the almost the motto, if not the motto of the country. And I think in this day and age, and forgetting what we're living through right now, but obviously it means even more today potentially. But I think that the cultural shift of millennials and now the Gen Z to things that are simpler, that are more fun, that are more inclusive. How do you feel about the notion that we always talk about, that the brands of the 21st century will be less London, New York, and Paris, and more, let's say, Montreal, LA, or California and Sydney? More just chill. How does that resonate with you in general, recognizing that it's literally straight down the fairway for you guys? I mean,
I think brands now are really pushing like the authenticity and the clarity and the transparency, because that's what the consumers are needing right now. They don't need to buy from a big brand that's overcharging them, that's a big designer company that has all the resources and is just putting such a big price tag on things. Consumers love discovering brands. They love being the first brand to share with their friends. They love being on Instagram, seeing an ad that resonates with them, buying it, and then getting it for all their friends. So there's almost like a feeling of being like discovered. You know what I mean? And I think with all these big Shopify brands and these D2C brands, we've all been the first brand to be discovered before we kind of got popular. And whether it's a bracelet company, a sunglass company, a hat company, a skincare company, we've all started at zero. We made a good product. people had strong word of mouth, and that's what kind of grew the brand organically. And I think that in today's kind of era, customers really want to see the authenticity. They want to see customer reviews. They want to see unboxing videos. They want to see how the product's made, where the product's from. Some brands even uncover all their cost structure. I think Patagonia does that. So there's different ways that brands are connecting with consumers to show that they're real and they actually really care.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting about the way you have done it is that there's sort of almost two layers of corporate social responsibility. One is obviously the fact that you've put so many people to work who historically maybe were living below the poverty line and were selling to tourists on a one-off basis on a beach. And now you've institutionalized that activity to really make a what would be maybe considered a cottage industry into industry. Let's call it that, which is what it is. But on another level, you're also using corporate social responsibility by, I also believe, having a foundation and giving and really being a support system to others as well in different ways. Can you talk a little bit about that sort of double layer of corporate social responsibility?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, we've always cared about giving back. That was kind of like the motto behind our brand when we started. We wanted to help out the artisans. We wanted to bring them more opportunity. Then we started making bracelets that donated back to charity. So we wanted to help out the charities and really find a way that Pura Vida can kind of be like, I guess, a double-edged sword where we can do two things. One would be, like I said, helping out the artisans, the others working with charities. And I think when you put those two things together, it really shows how much we care about the brand and also where the consumer's dollar is really going. In addition to that, we do whatever we can, whether it's in office or with our artisan networks, to make sure that, they are well taken care of. They're paid well over the normal rate in the neighborhoods that they live in. But yeah, also on top of that, we have biodegradable packaging. We want to make sure there's minimal waste. And those are the kind of things that we care about. And we're actually in the process of becoming B Corp certified, which may take us probably another 6 months to a year potentially. But we have a really great plan of attack for doing that. And our whole staff is really on board to helping that out.
The business was, I'm sure, as many people would have probably told you, a wild success from the very beginning. But I'm sure below the surface, there was all kinds of problems you dealt with. So as an entrepreneur, because that's what you are, I mean, a tried and true entrepreneur, how was it to have to make that journey, the sourcing journey, as it were, between Central and South America, California, building the business, trying to figure out margin, how much was fair to buy these products from the local artisans, and then what should be the markup, and talk a little bit about sort of the thinking that happened around those kinds of subjects. Let's say that, the business of the business, because at the end of the day, those listening are in the business of the business, but also how that's changed and what's evolved from the sort of the unit economics perspective. Yeah,
I mean, at the time, we really didn't know what we were doing. When we bought the bracelets from them, I think they were around like $1.50. That price hasn't really changed, from buying them from our two artisans, Jorge and Joaquin. We have never really penny pinched them or try to kind of capitalize on their labor and get the prices down. We've always been very consistent with the prices that they charge us. And when they need to charge higher prices because of tariffs going up or taxes or imports or cost of living, then we kind of find a best solution to work on those increases together, as opposed to just trying to completely push and get the prices down. Like that might happen more in like China. So I think we've always been very respectful to the relationship. And it is really a relationship with them. We're partners in this, and we have been since the beginning. So it feels really good to know that there's trust both ways.
Yeah.
And over time, it's been challenging. Paul and I never went to school for global supply chain. And when you put those words together, it sounds like you need some doctorate degree to figure that out. We have a girl in our office named Erico. She's very experienced in global supply chain, from the raw materials to the packaging that a customer gets at their front door. She does all of that. And it's been a huge win bringing her on board. She loves the brand, works so hard to make sure that everything about our supply chain is perfect. And, I think she's really brought us to where we are today.
And you started, as you said, with a Shopify site and obviously selling to friends, etc. But what were the first wholesale accounts, if you had any? I think you actually did. But how did you grow the business, or was it majority direct to consumer by the time you ended up selling a majority of the company?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're at about like 70% e-commerce, 30% wholesale. Mm-hmm. And when we started the business, we were always taking orders on both sides. So just as quickly as we were selling stuff online, we were having people in our office basically cold call the accounts that we thought would be a good fit to carry Pura Vida. So, that would be surf shops, yoga studios, gift stores, potentially hair salons, nail salons, anything that we thought would be perfect for the brand at the beginning. Since then, we've evolved. We've really curated what our store is. And it's that gift store. It's the surf store. It's the clothing store. It's, sits right on the counter for the point of purchase sale, right next to the cash wrap in every store. It's actually crazy that they give us that real estate, but it's because the product sells so well. We're in about 5,000 doors right now. Some of our biggest accounts include, we just launched in Nordstrom. We're in Tilly's. We're in Paper Store. We're in Whole Foods. And these are all nationwide accounts. So it never starts like that. It always started at, the local surf shop down the street. And you really have to prove to them that this product is worth them carrying. And at the beginning stages, we had to do a lot of consignment. And now we don't do consignment because they know that the product sells so quickly that they're actually placing future orders when they place their first order now. So it's really crazy to see how the brand's evolved in terms of the product innovation, but also the demand.
Yeah, I mean, it's wonderful when you think about retail economics, the idea of them giving you that real estate at point of sale. On a gross margin, $1 per square foot basis, you're the best deal in the whole store, right? I mean, you don't take up any space. You have a high margin for them. I'm sure you're allowing them to have a relatively good margin, and you can sell a lot of them stacked up right there on the register. So the economics of the business is just remarkable.
It's crazy. I mean, in like half of a square foot, they could potentially house $2,000 to $3,000 worth of product, and to have $2,000 to $3,000 worth of shoes, you would need a whole wall and backstock,
We'll be right back. I want to take a second to explain to you why Traub is able to bring you the safari. We pride ourselves in being at the very center of a very global, very complicated consumer and retail landscape. And in our travels, as we help think, manage, and expand businesses in many different channels and geographies, we're able to meet and learn from some of the great minds in this industry, and it's really wonderful to be able to bring them to you. And in doing so, I hope that you, the listener, will be able to learn a little bit more about what we do at Traub as well. Back to the safari. So, Griffin, let's get into the meat of what the safari is all about. What I've been really proud of doing this podcast for the last 6 months is that we've interviewed, I think, in equal measure, the contenders of the industry, such as yourself, who grew and are growing and have had a great success, but also many of the incumbents, CEOs of department stores and big real estate companies and big licensing houses and all the rest of it. So I'm really interested in the interplay between that notion of contender brand and incumbent. And for 5 years, our company, Traub Consulting, has been sort of pounding the table that in fashion, retail, accessories, footwear, etc., that the big guys should really be taking notice of the smaller guys who are really nimble, who understood their consumer, who knew how to do grassroots marketing, who were really agile online. And in our studies, which were called the New Davids, we did them for 5 years. We just did the last one just this last November. It was always about, all the big guys needed to wake up and see what you guys were all doing. And they really should be acquiring companies such as yourself. And I must say that I think it's so wonderful that Vera Bradley really knew this or felt it and felt that that sort of synergy with you, not just in your customer and the I guess the the brands, the brand values and the fun and the way you come to market, but also how important what you guys had built as IP from the plumbing would be or could be to them. So, from your experience as a business owner, one of those digital native brands, and the decision process that you had to go through, and there are a lot of your compatriots, let's say, who also listen to this in digital native land. What were the decisions you guys had to think about? Like, do we sell to a big guy? Do we not sell to a big guy? Do we go it alone? Do we not? Are you comfortable sort of sharing a little bit about sort of the whys of what you did?
Definitely. I think every business owner, they're so emotionally attached to their business, which is kind of how you grow the brand and have so much passion for it. We were never actively looking to sell the business when we started it. The business was started off of a surf trip in Costa Rica. It was a passion project that turned into a full-time job, which led into a successful business. But when we found out that people started hitting us up from private equity, from strategic buyers, and also from investment bankers, we were kind of putting all this together. And we're like, why are so many people hitting us up? So after we kind of got those emails for about a couple of years, we ended up engaging with an investment banking firm called Sage, which is based in Beverly Hills. And we started chatting with them a bunch, and they had a great track record of other e-commerce brands that they've sold in the past, and the multiples and everything looked pretty good. So we ended up giving them a shot and figured like, hey, if we can get a value that we feel the company is worth, then we're willing to entertain it. And if we don't, then we'll just keep going. We at the end of the day, we still have our business, and then we actually went through a big process. I would say it was kind of like a US tour of interviewing, different private equities and banks and
the road show. Yeah.
The road show. Exactly. And we did that, and it was a little bit of sales and a little bit of dancing, but at the end of the day, we were proud of what we were talking about, and it was all true. And it was coming from the heart. And we actually had 7 bids. So 7 offers were put in for Pura Vida. And after negotiation, we kind of went down to 2, and then we ended up going with Vera Bradley. And the reason we decided to go with them was not because it was the highest offer, it was because it was the one that we felt there would be longevity with. And we felt that, them being around for over 30 years and being big into charity, and the founders were 2 best friends coming up with an idea pretty much on their bedroom floor. It just felt very similar.
Yep.
And working with them so far, it's almost been a year, has been awesome. No hiccups, no roadblocks, knock on wood. It's been a great experience. But they've helped us with the things that, we were almost at a turning point for scale, and it's all operational. It's the legal, it's the accounting, it's the back office functions, it's supply chain help, it's quality control, and it's financial accounting. I mean, these are things that we could have kept doing on our own, no problem. But now our team is allowed to focus on creative and product innovation and culture and brand and social media and Facebook ads and things that we were actually built to be experts in. And it's almost like our weaknesses complemented their strengths, and the marriage has been great.
It's interesting. I mean, I take my hat off to Rob Wallstrom big time, because it's so rare for a CEO of a big public company to have the courage to, put aside some of the hubbub that people say about digital native brands, and they won't survive, they won't be around, whatever, and to be able to focus in and hone in on maybe what the opportunities are, right? What does NewCo look like? And I think he, in the history of what's going on in retail today, I think you guys coming together is just a really wonderful story that will be a harbinger, I think, for a lot of things that, will come in the future. I think you guys, your marriage was one of the first. It's happened for years in the CPG space. All the big guys buying up the cool young food companies, right? But in fashion, retail, accessories, footwear, not so much. So it's really interesting. What are some of the surprising things that, once you guys were now, part of their company, at least majority owned by them, that was just completely foreign or completely fascinating to you to be inside this new environment?
I mean, honestly, they've really let us just grow the brand from afar with not much, not much moving around. It's been really, really good. And I know that's not a common thing to hear. A lot of people want the bigger brand wants to come in and kind of shake things up and cut costs and remove employees and all this stuff. But that has not happened at all. I think they really trust Paul and I. They know that we are a founder-driven business. They know that our heart is in the game. And I think that they really trust the decisions that we made before the deal and are going to make after the deal and pretty much moving forward. So I think that's something that's in our favor.
And do they sometimes tap you guys for advice on things they're doing on the other side, or do you guys stick to your lanes and just do you? No,
definitely. I mean, they have plans to move over to Shopify soon. And I think that's a big play because it's really going to allow both of the brands to kind of come together, share resources. And the big reason, for the acquisition was because of our digital expertise. And, right now, not everything that we can offer can work, within their CRM and their platform. So I think the move to Shopify will align both brands. Also an opportunity to save costs potentially on our different apps and services and some of our SaaS platforms. So, I think that there's a lot in the future for both of us to really just increase the efficiency of both of our websites because the amount of customers that we each get per day is substantial.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating stuff. So to pivot a little bit into something a little different around marketing. So one of the things that I believe digital native brands are just so much better at than, let's say, incumbent businesses is just being really raw and honest with their customers and then partnering with people to help, be disciples of the brand and really, therefore, to leave the reins to others a little bit, not be so controlling from a marketing perspective. You guys, I think, have been quite famous in having a rather unique strategy with micro influencers. How can you describe those programs and what are the learnings that others might be able to glean from how you dealt with influencers and indeed your marketing up to now?
Yeah, I mean, I think ever since the beginning, we were never the brands that wanted to just put our stuff on a big celebrity, promote it that way and push it and say, hey, if you buy our product, you'll feel like the celebrity. Or, we didn't just go to hire a bunch of runway models and, put our products on them and saying, hey, if you buy products, then you're going to look and feel like this person. We always wanted to be an all-inclusive brand in terms of our marketing. So working with micro influencers or working with brand ambassadors, which we consider the normal person, it allows our customers to just be an advocate for the brand. And whether you have 500 followers, whether you have 1,000, whether you have 50,000 or 100,000, we want people to promote Pura Vida in a creative way on their Instagram by buying our products. And, like I said before, we're an inclusive brand and we're accepting of everyone. And I think that's what's so good about the product is that anyone can wear it. It can be worn at any times. It's waterproof. And to be honest, it just makes people feel good.
Yep. Yeah, it absolutely does. And you've expanded, I think, to other accessories. Are they also made in Central America, or have you diversified your sourcing base? And what products are you now into?
Yeah, so I mean, we have rings that are made in India and our necklaces. And basically, we're using a mix between like precious stones. We have turquoise, we have rose gold, we have sterling silver, just different types of metals. And it's really allowed us to create a jewelry line of products that really resonate with our customers. So if we felt confident about kind of owning the wrist space, then marketing to that same customer with the ring is only a couple inches from your wrist. So it's pretty...
It's not far away. Yeah.
Not far away. So it's like if we were, let's say a shoe brand and then we started making hats, there might be some disconnect. So we felt that the correct expansion of a product was going from bracelets to rings to now jewelry. And jewelry is pretty much almost a third of our business now. So the demand for these rings has really, really skyrocketed over the past couple of years.
And so do you have a team in India? Or how does that, who are the guys sent out? Because you guys obviously, discovered what you discovered in, when you were on holiday. Who was sort of sent out as your emissary to go and figure out where to buy everything in India?
Yeah. So, once we got to a point where Paul and I just could no longer just design bracelets, which was obviously like many years ago, we hired a product developer to help us out with this. And her name's Shiva, and Shiva's been doing an amazing job. She's came from Forever 21, so she always designed younger female jewelry. and we felt that it was the perfect fit for Pura Vida. So her expertise, her guidance, her strategy, traveling, getting samples, research and development. She goes to shows in India. She goes to, places in Hong Kong. She gets samples. So I feel like someone like that on our team has really allowed the brand to continue to grow, because, there's a point where you can't just figure out how to make cool products anymore. You need an expert in that seat.
Yeah, no question. And did you guys open any retail, or is it all, when you direct to consumer, you said 70%, is that all online, or have you now got enough of an assortment to be able to do smaller stores, or is it still not enough of an assortment for retail?
No, it's definitely an assortment. We were planning on opening a store this August, but that got pushed back. So, we still have everything kind of ready to do that. The store design's done. The whole like look and feel, the layout, the location, it's all dialed. So we plan on opening that probably in like March or April of next year. But that's still kind of TBD, just with everything going on.
Yeah, because apparently it's hard to open a store during a pandemic, I hear.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much impossible. So rather than opening the store and realizing that it's a flop, I think we just pushed it back, a couple months.
Yeah, that's great. And so what are some of the things that are, on your mind within the company that you're excited about that are coming down the pike?
We have some really big product categories that I can't share just yet. But we've done a ton of research on what our customers wanting, what they feel that they're buying from other brands and would rather buy from Pura Vida. So we have some really cool stuff coming out that will be shared on social media. But also we have some really big collaborations that we're doing with bigger social media stars. So some of them are on TikTok, some of them are on Instagram. But these collaborations that we're doing are really going to define the brand, open us up to a brand new audience, and also continue to scale us through D2C channels.
That's great. And so I always like to end with a sort of a personal note from the person I'm interviewing. So, and maybe you'll allow me a touch of sincerity, because the Pura Vida brand actually, as I said earlier at the very beginning, means a lot to me, mainly because of my love of Costa Rica, but also for what it means. And, and as I said, it's really about an appreciation of life's simple treasures. And I think many of us during this pandemic have really been able to come back to that. If there's been one silver lining, it's been people recognizing how they can be happy with what they have, their families and their homes and the possessions that they currently have. So given that your brand is really one of those rays of light, what makes you feel good? What are you looking forward to for your business, for the world we're living in, and like basically give you the last word?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I hope everything starts to have some positivity in the world after all this. We've all kind of been living under a rock for the past 3 months, and the emotional roller coaster of ups and downs. And I'm thankful that my friends and family have been safe, and I hope that other people are the same. But also just coming out of this stronger. We've all kind of learned to kind of peel back a layer of sensitivity and really kind of put all the cards on the table. I feel like everyone in every country in the world is pretty much on the same level now and the same level playing field. And we kind of have to all get back to the surface at our different comforts and different speeds. But I'm confident that we will. We got to just stay close to the people around us, continue to inspire others. And, if you are starting a business or you are, doing something right now, then keep your head down, get to work, and, let's all rise to the top together.
Rise to the top together. Griffin, Thall, thank you so much for doing the safari. And as they say in Costa Rica, Pura Vida. If you want to learn a little bit more about Traub, you can go to traub.io, where you'll learn a lot about everything that we do. If you're enjoying the safari, please do share it with your friends and colleagues within the industry. And please also don't forget to subscribe and like it. Until next time.